Hello, I'm James Paddlegrant.
And I'm Dustin Dudelay, and this is 110% Sports.
Women lead Lancers playoff prospects. They call her the Beast. Golden Junior goalie in Ontario.
A shakeup in the Ontario College East Division men's basketball standings. La Cité College has admitted it used an ineligible player for 4 games in January. It won 3 of those games, so now the OCAA has ruled La Cité must forfeit those 3 victories. A spokesperson for the OCAA said he's not at liberty to disclose fines within the league, but Loyalist Athletic Director Jim Buck says there will be a financial penalty for La Cité. That forfeiture means the Loyalist loss to La Cité in men's basketball on January 24th now counts as a win for the Lancers. And the Lancers won a game outright on the weekend over the Seneca Sting. Rachel Yanni has this report.
For once, the Lancers played a solid first half. They took a 43-30 lead into the locker room. Coach Ryan Barbeau said he was surprised they led given how many turnovers they gave up. Bench warmer Chris Asomani led all scorers with 25 points in just 23 minutes of playing time. He scored 17 of those points in the second half. The score was tied at 76 with less than a minute to play. Asomani was also a dominant force on the defense, so it was a good time for the 6'4" forward from North York to step up.
Oh, up there, that's number one. The best game I played so far. Fourth quarter, we just pulled through and we won. It gives more momentum, more confidence, going away for games now, so push through and win the games.
The Loyalist Lancers succeeded in shutting down Seneca guard Youssef Ali. Ali joined the team in January from Brock University and managed only 25% of his shots and 3-pointers.
Loyalists came out with a sense of urgency and punched us in the face in the first quarter, which was the difference at the end of the game. It affects us. We were thinking going 2-0 this weekend, so our record now is 8-6. We got to get this one win tomorrow.
The win was Loyalist's 6th in 9 home games this season, something to celebrate. For QNet Sports, I'm Rachel Yanni in Belleville.
Even though La Cité has had 3 wins taken away, they still lead the men's basketball rankings in the OCAA East Division. But La Cité now has a record of 12 wins and 4 losses. The team is only 2 points ahead of Algonquin and St. Lawrence. Loyalist is tied with Georgian College in the 6th spot, but the Lancers have a game in hand due to the postponed match last fall. The top 6 teams qualify for the playoffs.
Meantime, the Loyalist women's basketball team also had a key win at home. Evan Gomes reports.
The 5-3 Lancers faced off against the 6-3 Seneca Sting. Scary moment in the first half. Lancers forward Portia Hewitt went down hard with an apparent knee injury after colliding with a Seneca player. Hewitt left the court under her own power and would return to chip in 10 points. In the third quarter, Sting leading scorer Sarah Givens hit 2 of her 15 points. Then it was all Lancers. Jenny Thompson, Loyalist's overall scoring leader, hits this 3-pointer. She had 12 points and 11 boards on the night. Next play, Loyalist forces the steal and newcomer Corey Brown finishes it off. Lancers lead by 11 after 3. The Sting attempted a comeback in the fourth quarter. It was too little too late. Thompson hits this 3-pointer to seal it. Lancers win 61-55. After the game, Givens said fatigue may have been a factor.
We did good at times, but we had a couple lapses, and we just need to work on executing our stuff in the end of the game. And when we're tired and flustered, we need to be able to execute our offensive sets.
Loyalist point guard Letitia Lopez led her team with 14 points. She said it wasn't her team's best game, but they'll take the win.
I don't know, I think we wanted it more. There was times where we were sloppy and returning the ball a lot, but there's certain spurts we had where we just pushed the ball, scored, like everything worked, like from 1, 2, 3, it was great.
Evan Gomes, QNet Sports, Belleville.
The Lady Lancers are now pretty much guaranteed a playoff berth. The team hits the road for 4 games this month before one final home game on February 23rd. Let's take a look at the East Division standings. Algonquin has a commanding lead, but several teams are battling for bragging rights. Loyalist has played only 9 games, so has 2 games in hand over most of its opponents. It looks like the Loyalist women's volleyball team also has an excellent chance at making the playoffs. Durham is on an 11-game win streak. The Lady Lancers are now tied for 4th place. They are 2 wins away from clinching a playoff spot for the first time in 3 years. Their next game is Saturday when they host Canadore.
Now let's take a look at the men's volleyball standings. The Loyalist Lancers had 1 win and 1 loss over the weekend. The top 5 teams are playoff bound. Loyalist had a slow start to its season, but the Lancers are still fighting for the 6th and final playoff spot. Loyalist has 4 games left in the regular season, including 1 at home Saturday. Speaking of men's volleyball, Loyalist outside hitter Ben Hofdizer is the OCAA Men's Volleyball Player of the Week. It was a good week for Big Ben. He was also one of the athletes who won a $1,000 scholarship. He was one of 30 Loyalist athletes honored at its annual athletic awards luncheon Thursday. My co-host Dustin Dudelay caught up with some of the winners.
Bickle celebrated with other athletes at an awards luncheon. The second-year student is studying police foundations and says the money will go a long way.
It's pretty amazing. It's a little bit of financial aid, I guess. Probably buy my books with that, so that'll be good. It's a huge honor as well. I know I have put a lot of work into the season, as well as my coaches have put a lot of work into it as well, and teammates and that, so it's a huge honor for sure.
Second-year basketball guard Jamal Okenbohr received the Scott Reed Memorial Award. Reed played on the team from 1991 to 94. He died of cancer in 2001. Okenbohr says balancing academics and athletics is tough.
Well, it's not easy, because sometimes you have the group assignments, you have to meet up with your group, and you have to sacrifice certain things you want to do, especially your alone time, so you have to do that. On top of that, do basketball, and you have not no time to sleep, plus you have to do homework, but eventually you get used to it and you stick with it.
Adam Strickland is the third-year captain of the men's volleyball team. He says the trick to juggling school and sports is good scheduling.
Definitely just kind of organizing my schedule is very difficult with practices and games 2-3 times a week sometimes, on top of class projects and whatnot, group projects. It's a little tough, but yeah, scheduling is definitely one key aspect to focus on.
He says college athletes don't get a lot of praise, so it's nice when they do get honors like these.
It means a lot to me. It's nice. I don't need the recognition, but at the same time, it is nice to be obviously recognized for the things that we do around here with sports and obviously academically as well. It's a nice feeling to be appreciated for what we do.
Lady Lancers point guard Letitia Lopez added to her list of accolades by earning a $1,000 scholarship. She was the OCAA East Rookie of the Year and Loyalist Female Athlete of the Year in 2015. She says the scholarship means more to her than any of those awards.
I think to me this is the best thing I can be given, whether it be another award for basketball, like an MVP or something like that. I think academics are really, really important. It's the reason why all of us are here today, because of school. So getting an award like this, maintaining a certain average and playing at a certain level of basketball is really high praise, I think, for any athlete.
She says basketball is what brought her to Loyalist from her home in Toronto, and it's enriched her experience.
Oh, I want to come here. I definitely want to come here. I'm not going to lie to you, I want to come here. I came here for my program, and I came here to play basketball, and the opportunity to do both makes it really enjoyable here. If I were to just do school, it wouldn't be the same, because I've met a lot of people on the team that I really like, friendships I've built, and it's going to be with me for the rest of my life.
Athletes are usually recognized for their work on the court and on the field. Rarely are they rewarded for their work in the classroom. That's what these awards are all about, acknowledging Loyalist student athletes and all the hard work that they put in. For QNet Sports, I'm Dustin Dudelay, Belleville.
Time for a commercial break. We'll be right back with a look at what's going on in local hockey. Back. Mother Nature curtailed the 5th annual Hockey for Troops tournament on the weekend. It was to be held on 4 outdoor ponds near Ottawa, but balmy weather made the rinks more suitable for swimming than skating. It's a fundraiser for Wounded Warriors Canada and the Trenton Memorial Hospital. Organizers say they've likely raised more than $35,000. Turning to the Ontario Junior Hockey League, just one game on tap last night. 4 different scorers chipped in to give the Markham Royals a 4-1 win over the Cobourg Cougars. The win extends Markham's lead in the North Division. Cobourg is 4th in the East Division.
The Trenton Golden Hawks are on track to have their best season in franchise history. The team has 35 wins and 5 losses. They lead the OJHL. So what makes the Golden Hawks so golden? We sent my co-host, James Paddle Grant, to find out.
The Golden Hawks have led the Ontario Junior Hockey League standings since the beginning in September. For a time, they were the best junior team in Canada. Right now, they're 4th in the country. Several OJHL players say the reason for the team's success is goaltender Daniel Urbani. He was acquired in an off-season trade from the Kingston Voyageurs.
But, he's a pretty good netminder. It's great to have him in the back end for them. He's definitely a big asset for their team.
And then Urbani, their goalie, has been unreal all year. Probably the best goalie in the league right now. So I guess they've been playing really well, and that's good for them.
Well, I think a goalie, especially in this league, really makes or breaks a couple of the games. When we've played them, he's been amazing. We've put up over 35 shots against him, and he's done a good job of kicking it aside. And we know that when we play him, that we need to be prepared. We got to get in front of him because if he sees it, he's got a good chance of just making the save.
In addition to Urbani, 17 other players on Trenton's 22-man roster are new to the team this season. Jerome Dupont was a first-round draft pick of the Chicago Blackhawks in 1980. He played for Chicago and Toronto in his 7-year NHL career. He's been Trenton's head coach since 2011. After Trenton lost to Kingston in the OJHL playoffs last season, Dupont figured he'd try to steal Urbani away from the Voyageurs.
We lost in the 3rd round in the playoffs last year with him in net against us, so we knew that he was a good one. You can't do any better scouting than that. So we just figured, if you can't beat him, let's have him join us.
Hunter Fargy is a 3rd-year forward with Trenton. He said he and his teammates feel they can count on Urbani in the crease.
He's really brought a stable goaltending to the back end there. You can rely on him day in and day out to come with a good attitude and a good game to the rink, so you always can rely on him when he's in net.
Urbani says the feeling is mutual. The 20-year-old from Coquitlam, British Columbia, is modest enough to credit Trenton's defense-first mentality for the team's success.
I know defensively, guys that have come in and out of our lineup that have just been solid. Maybe they're not guys that are scoring goals every game, but those small guys that make those small things that are contributing, blocking shots, making those key hits, small things in the game. You don't always notice those things, but that's why I think our team has slowly risen to the top.
John McDonald is the Golden Hawks' Director of Hockey Operations. He was head coach of the Toronto Marlies when Jerome Dupont was a junior player. McDonald says Urbani is as good as it gets.
I've seen a lot of goaltenders in my day. I was an old goaltender, and I had a cup of coffee in the show, and I've coached some great goaltenders. Glenn Healy, I've had Healy, Rich Tabaracci, all made the NHL, all great goaltenders. Peter Ing was another one, but I'm going to tell you something. Daniel Urbani's as good as any of them. That's how good I think he is.
This will be Urbani's only season with Trenton. He's heading to Canisius College in Buffalo in September. For QNet Sports, I'm James Paddlegrant, Trenton.
Time for another commercial break. When we come back, we'll have a story on a women's volleyball player whose nickname is the Beast. Stay tuned.
Jim Buck has been the athletic director at Loyalist College for 7 years. He's also a member of the executive of the Ontario College Athletic Association. Loyalist is one of the smallest of the 24 colleges in Ontario. Evan Gomes talked with Buck about the unique problem that poses.
You've been a longtime member of the OC2A board. You're now the Vice President of Finance and Awards. What are the challenges with those positions?
I think the biggest thing is just sort of finding the right amount of time to put towards doing that business, along with doing my day-to-day business here at the college, and just sort of time management skills to make it all happen. A lot of what I do within that business, so what happens is our executive director obviously is in there every day, and he does the day-to-day operations of the budget, and basically what I am is sort of there for checks and balances. So when Doug Gallatley does certain things, and it's sent to me for approval, and then we spend a lot of time on the phone going back and forth talking about like sport budgets, some of the how we're going to spend some of our money within the OCA. Should we spend money on this? Is this a good project? That type of thing, and just sort of monitoring, what's happening with our budgets, what our fees should be within the association, and sort of going forward. And then the other part of it is I oversee all the awards within the association, down to designing the OCA medals and what trophies are we giving out, and what are we giving out to championship teams, and I'm involved in the Hall of Fame within the OCA and things like that. So there's time periods when it's really busy, and then there's other times where, like, I may go 3 or 4 days where I really don't have any OCA business to look after. But Doug and I are very close and work on a lot of projects together, and I'm a good sounding board for him. As you know, I've been in the association for just over 30 years now, and so that's a big part of why they like me on the executive is that history, and and coming from a small college, I look at things differently than, say, someone who's on the executive that works at Humber College.
What's the OC2A's annual budget?
It would be probably over $500,000 in total. So that would cover obviously salaries of our office staff. We have 3 full-time people in the office, and then the rest of it is obviously operating things. So running everything we do in terms of league, all the stuff in the office, websites, stats, championships, all that type of thing.
What is the major source of revenue for the OC2A?
Two areas. One is ministry grants each year that we have to apply for every 3 years, and so we get a good chunk of money, just over $200,000 from the ministry each year to do our business. And then the other one is basically user fees. So all our membership fees, you pay a certain membership fee, and then you pay league sport fees, and they vary from year to year, and that type of thing. So that's really and a little bit of sponsorship dollars. I mean, we have some money coming in. I would guess probably somewhere around maybe $40,000 a year in sponsorship, which certainly helps.
Loyalist is one of the smallest of the 24 Ontario colleges. What kind of challenges does that pose for you?
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it, again, we're sitting in one. So the challenge for us is hosting and sometimes meeting OCA standards, and they're starting to climb each year in terms of what you should have in order to host not only championships but to be a part of the league. Obviously, trying to stay competitive with all the programs. I mean, we're like some smaller schools might only offer a couple sports, where we're in the 4 major sports, and then we have a number of fall sports, and so we're doing a lot with very little. And when I say little, I mean just from my staff down. I mean some departments will have 8 or 10 full-time staff in their athletic department and have basically the same number of programs. So they'll have one person coordinating men's and women's basketball, and that's the majority of their job. Where how my staff works and how much is on their plates, and so that's a challenge. It's also like from a recruiting standpoint. I mean, that's a real big challenge. One is to keep local kids wanting to stay in Belleville, which is difficult because they've grown up and they just hear Loyalist. It's not exciting for them to attend, and then it's often difficult to get kids from GTA or Kingston or Ottawa. They may stay at home because it's a little more exciting in their cities than to come to Belleville.
What are your thoughts on athletic scholarships at the college level?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I mean, I think that in fairness to student athletes, I think we should have scholarships, and I think they should be substantial. But again, you get into that same argument. The rich get richer, right? So if I've got 5 times the budget that I have, it's easier for me to have X amount of dollars to fund student athletes. Where for us, it's a struggle, and we do have scholarships, and they've increased in the last bunch of years. Like a maximum amount now is $2,500, which is close to tuition for full season sports. So basketball and volleyball, for example, we could, if we had the finance, we could give a basketball or volleyball kid $2,500, and so that's a decent amount of money that if I'm recruiting and you're recruiting. But where we're up against it is right now the max we're in 99.9% of the cases we're given is $1,000.
Are there other varsity sports like golf or baseball that you'd like to see Loyalists compete in down the road?
Not for next year, because the way our association works, we're too late now for next year. We would have had to commit at our recent directors meeting in December, and then it's 2-year commitment, so it'll be down the road. In a perfect world, yeah, we'd love to have a couple more sports. Ideally, the next one that we would add would be men's soccer. I would like to have everything equal, so if you have a women's sport, you have it in men's, and vice versa. Gender equity, in 3 to 5 years, it could be a rule within the association. If you are one in a sport, you have to have both men's and women's. So eventually I would love to add men's soccer. We've been in men's soccer before. We've revisited that program twice in probably about the last 8 or 9 years, where we've tried to revamp it. It hasn't worked. It hasn't met the criteria that I need to see to make it a viable sport.
Thank you for your time, Jim.
Well, thank you. It was my pleasure.
Volleyball is a team sport, but there's a rookie sensation on the women's team at Loyalist who's getting lots of attention. She tops the OCAA in several scoring categories. Rachel Yanni sat down with head coach Amy Hoskin and her star player.
Meet Sarah Pianayapu. She's 19 and a rookie on the team. She's #1 in all Ontario College players in overall kills and kills per set. She's a first-year student studying fitness and health promotion, and one day hopes to own her own business.
It was a radio play.
Head coaches Amy Hoskin and Dominique Dawes recruited Pianayapu last spring. They went to one of her high school games in Ottawa. Hoskin says they were impressed right away.
We drove to Ottawa and watched one of her high school games. We actually took Amy Parker down with us, our team captain. We took her, and the 3 of us went down and watched her high school game. So,
what makes Sarah such a strong addition to the team?
Just her different abilities. Like, she's so athletic and she jumps like crazy, but she's so strong and so powerful. But at the same time, she can hold back and really use all kinds of different tools to score points. So she's a huge asset in a bunch of different ways.
So Sarah's nickname is the Beast. How do you suppose she got that name?
I don't know how she got it. I can guess. It's pretty evident when you watch her. It's everything from her body language, her passion for the game, to how ridiculously powerful she actually is. She is a beast in every sense of the word.
I don't really like it, but whatever.
Are you surprised at how well you've been doing during your rookie season?
I am, actually.
And why is that?
I didn't know that it would be this big, but I know that I could not do anything without my coaches and my teammates.
So it's good to have a mix of rookie and veteran players playing together. How does Sarah fit in with the team?
We were really fortunate this year with Sarah being predominantly French. We have 3 girls on the team that are completely bilingual. One of them is our team captain, Amy Parker. So having Parker with that, having that connection with Sarah and really being able to help her through that transition has been absolutely huge.
And sometimes I speak French and I'm like, oh no, English here.
Has the language barrier prompted any funny times or team bonding?
They're really funny. So Sarah actually lives with 2 of the girls on the team. Neither one of them they can both speak a little bit of French, but not a ton. And actually last week at practice, I noticed one of them was speaking French and I questioned it, and Sarah just started laughing. She said, I'm teaching her. It was obviously fairly broken French, but it was funny and nice at the same time. We have a lot of women on our team that are really funny, and they all have such different personalities that it's definitely something that they laugh about all the time. Sarah will say something, and we'll look at her, and Doms and I will both look at her and be like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're saying. And then she'll just laugh and be like, I know you don't. And then she'll say it again, or she'll, try and get us to figure out what it is. And so it's been a lot of fun, and the girls have a lot of fun with it too.
So what surprises you most about Sarah?
That she has not even come close to her potential. We see it in practice all the time. There's times where I can say, Sarah, you need to win this point. Like, okay, and she'll go do it. Like, the fact that she can just flip a switch and be like, yep, I'm going to win this, and I'm going to win this right now. It's unbelievable, and she's not done. She's far from being done. She's got so much room to grow. It's crazy.
Does Sarah remind you of yourself as a player?
She's far better than I ever was, but she has that same level of passion that Doms and I both had, which is something that we don't always see from players. There's some girls on the team that have it, there's some that don't. But it's one of those, it's fun. In practice, I can say to her, I'm going to beat you right now. And she'll look at me and be like, no, you're not. And if I say that to her, I know that I'm going to lose, but it makes her step up and want to beat me every single time, and she does.
When was the last time you coached a rookie player that was as good as Sarah?
I don't know that we've ever had anybody that's been to this level. She's kind of that next level player that you always look for and you always hope for. But yeah, I don't think we've ever really had anybody quite like Sarah before.
What do you like playing about a team sport rather than an individual sport?
Team sport is because you have people to lay on, to count on, and to just have fun with. Individual sport is just like you need to count on yourself, and like there's a lot to take in, and like you cannot count on anybody except for your coach. But teammates, they're going to be there on the court and off the court. So I love that.
What are your goals in your education and future career?
My goal would be to have my own company of fitness or something related to fitness, but I want to stay in fitness. After college, I'm thinking about going to university and playing for a team there, and then just see how it goes from there.
So there are professional women's volleyball teams in Europe and Asia. Would you ever consider playing for one of them?
My dad is actually thinking about it, but I'm not too sure because I don't want to leave again and go and start something new. But if it leads to there, I'm going to go.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for your time.
It's that time again for the plays of the month. Here's Evan Gomes with some of the best from January.
The QNet Sports Plays of the Month starts with volleyball. George Brown Huskies versus Loyalist Lancers. Early in the third set, a rally starts, and it just doesn't stop. It has spikes, it has digs, it's got a little bit of everything. Do they think that they're playing ping pong? The ball bounced back and forth 17 times. Two Loyalist players said it was the longest rally they have ever been a part of. Just enjoy it. It's still going. Well, maybe it'll end here. Nope. Still going. And it keeps on going. Eventually, Loyalist lost the point after being called for a lift. To the hard court, Loyalist Lancers rookie Carlo Pantaleon misses the shot, but Hakeem Curling swoops in for the steal and the bucket. Women's basketball action, Algonquin's Amoni Abakar takes a shot from way downtown, and it's good. Yusuf Ali of the Seneca Sting with the quick bounce pass to Devontae Nunez. He finishes with the soft finger roll. We end on the ice. Trenton Golden Hawks versus Coburg Cougars. The point shot by Jordan De Silva is tipped in by Liam Morgan to cap off the highlights of the month. QNet Sports, I'm Evan Gomes in Belleville.
That's our show for this week. I'm Dustin Dudelet. Thanks for watching. See you next time.